Hello, Civ fans, and welcome to today's Firaxis livestream.
My name is Pete Murray. I'm going to be your host today, and I am joined today by Anton Stringer, who is the lead designer of the Civ 6 New Frontier Path. Hello, Anton. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Pete. Thanks.
And driving our game today is Carl Harrison, the king of QA, conqueror of worlds, leader of civilizations. Carl, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Pete. Thanks.
So we've got a couple of cool things to show off today. We've got the next update coming for the New Frontier Pass, the Gaul and Byzantium civilizations. So it's exciting. We got a lot to show you. Let's go ahead and we'll jump into it. So Anton, do you want to tell us a little bit about how Gaul is set up as a civ?
Yeah, so Gall plays the district placement game very differently from everybody else. This is something that we really wanted to experiment with. So what they do is they can't settle their districts near their city center. Instead, they have to settle out on the hinterlands. But as a sort of bonus to offset that, they get adjacency from mines. Mines will provide some culture bombs for unowned territory. And they have a lot of really cool culture and production bonuses, as well as some good defense as well. But you can also use that for offense, which I think is what Carl is up to in his game here.
So let's jump into the game, Carl. And can you tell us about what you've got going on in this game right now?
Yes, absolutely. We're playing on the Highlands Map today on Emperor difficulty with this. I've got a couple of cities set up. We've got a settler one turn away from finishing. We'll move it over and start a new city. And, of course, this would not be a proper game without a little Gaul versus Rome action. So we have an army over here ready to go, and we will be declaring war on them at the end of the turn here. I got lucky enough to spawn next to Matterhorn, which was pure luck. I did use the Natural Wonder Picker to remove water-based wonders because on the Highlands map, you will have smaller bodies of water. So I wanted to try to restrict it to land wonders, but starting next to Matterhorn, that was pure luck. Matterhorn gives a combat bonus and movement bonus for units in hills, and Gaul is all about hills, so that was really advantageous for us. And speaking of hills, I have a builder up here ready to go to build a mine. I'm going to go ahead and turn on tile yield so you guys can see this. Gaul is able to get +1 culture on their mines, and the mines provide an adjacency bonus to districts, like you were saying, and it also causes a culture bomb. You can't build any districts adjacent to the city center, so you want to try to put your city next to hills if possible, so that you can get your mines there, expand outwards so that you can grab territory for building your districts, and then those mines will provide that adjacency bonus. So let's go ahead and show that off here. So you can see one culture on the tooltip, and then there we go. We've got our culture bomb.
And just to clarify too, the culture bomb works a little differently from other culture bombs. So this culture bomb only will claim unowned territory. It originally worked the other way around, where like other culture bombs, it could claim territory from underneath other players, but that was just a little bit too strong. So we sort of changed that in our many balancing passes, and it only claims unknown territory. So it's particularly useful early in the game. And like Carl said, that first ring around your city, you're not actually going to be able to place any districts there. So settling next to hills is very good, because then you can build a mine on top, and boom, then you get some more territory.
Okay, so we had a question from chat already, which is, can Gauls still build aqueducts since they require city center adjacency?
They can, yes. Gaul can't build specialty districts adjacent to their city center, but
correct.
Neighborhoods, aqueducts, things like that are not considered specialty districts, so they're still able to build them there.
Yeah, okay. Specialty districts are the things that sort of like count against your cap and are usually dedicated to a certain yield of a certain kind. Yes.
Right.
So, Carl, I saw that you picked military training as the civic, probably because you want to go for Temple of Zeus, which is another new wonder that's going to be in this pack. But you want to talk a little bit about some of the changes that are coming with it. So, for example, we are playing on the Dramatic Ages mode.
We are, yes. Let me go ahead and do a policy choice because we have that available right now. Right now I have the Monumentality policy slotted in.
Golden policy.
Yeah, so in this mode, instead of normal dedication bonuses, you have your Golden Age effects as policies, which means you can slot multiple golden policies at once if you have the wildcard slots available for it. They do require a wildcard slot. And we've made a couple of changes to those dedication effects. So for monumentality, you do get +2 movement for builders and now also settlers. You may purchase civilian units with faith, which was there before. And builders are 30% cheaper to purchase with faith and gold, but not settlers. We recognize the fact that having settlers get that discount was perhaps a little bit too strong, so we, in this version, have removed the settlers from that discount.
Yeah, definitely many tweaks went into the golden policies and the reworked dark policies, because normally you'd only have one dedication at a time, but now since they can stack with as many wildcard policies as you have, they can be quite good. So we took another look at all of those.
Okay.
What I want to slot in here right now is Praetorian Guard, which is going to give us +10 healing on our units. Units only heal 5 per turn in enemy territory, so this will triple the amount that they're normally healing.
Very nice.
Very good when we're at war with Rome here in a minute. It also gives you +2 production towards the encampment district and all buildings in the encampment.
So that'll be useful. Yeah.
A quick note on the Dramatic Mages mode too. I had seen some early comments reacting to like what the rules for the Dramatic Ages are. There's a lot of tweaks that we did, and one of them, as many of you noticed, since there's no dedications, you don't get those sort of quests to earn era score. So you can still get era score from historic moments just like before, but we've also added some new sources. So anytime you finish a technology or a civic, you'll get 1 era score. And anytime you promote a unit past its first promotion level, you will also get an era score. So those are some kind of like ways, your bread and butter for keeping your era score up, because you'll never have any of those dedication era scores, because those have all been sort of transmuted into policy cards.
Now, we wouldn't be proper Gauls if we didn't, try to declare war on some Romans for being there. So this is an opportunity where we get to show off the Gaecitae, which is Gaul's unique unit, correct?
Yeah, that's right. And the Gaecitae gets, it has 20 base strength. You can see that down here, the 20 base strength, same as a warrior. It's a warrior replacement, so you get it immediately when you start the game, and you get that +4 era score for having your unique unit. It is more expensive to build. It has the same movement. You guys saw that I was able to move freely in the hills there. That's purely because of the Matterhorn and not something the Gaecitae has. But when we mouse over the heavy chariot here, we get the full combat preview. So you can see multiple things happening here. First, the Gaecitae gets a +10 combat bonus whenever it's attacking a unit with a higher base strength. So anything higher than 20, it gets a combat bonus. That's heavy chariots, that's swordsmen, legions in Rome's case, and it counts crossbowmen too. Hopefully we'll get a chance to show that off. Then you also have the bonus from Ambiorix himself, King of the Eubrones, and that gives you +2 combat strength for melee, anti-cavalry, and ranged units for every single adjacent unit, whether it's your unit or a hostile unit or just any neutral unit. So my units back here are adding to that, as well as the heavy chariot itself. I also have +4 from Oligarchy and +3 from it being Matterhorn, so this is going to go very much in our favor here.
Can we zoom in a little bit? Those guys are pretty cool looking.
Yeah, let me do another combat on the following turn, and we'll watch it a little bit more up close. It is also worth noting that the Gaecitae gets +5 combat versus districts, whether that's being attacked or attacking. And the reason for that is because city defense strength is based on the highest, the strength of the highest unit built. So if they build a legion or a swordsman or something like that, it's going to increase their city strength, but that +10 that the Gaecitae gets fighting the unit does not apply against the city. So you did want to give them something there to help them so that they didn't just throw themselves against cities and die, and that was the +5.
And one of the civilizations that we've added in this demo today is Georgia. So Georgia's gotten some changes. If you get the DLC and you have Dramatic Ages, then Georgia has some reworking as well too, right, Anton?
It does, yeah. So Georgia's ability back in Rise and Fall was related to being able to have the dedication bonus of normal age while you're in a golden age, and the idea was that normally in a golden age, you get the cool gameplay effects, but you wouldn't get the sort of era score quest. Georgia would get both. But dramatic ages, there are no era score quests. So we wanted to rework Georgia. And Georgia, we had also noticed a lot of folks in the community had said they might be on the weaker side. So we wanted to start with kind of re-examining them specifically for dramatic ages. So what we've done is that we've made their golden ages extra cool. So while playing this mode, Georgia, if they reach a golden age, will get an extra wildcard policy slot, which lets them slot those golden policies, so they're a little more powerful there. Also, they, in addition to being able to slot golden policies in golden ages, they can also slot dark policies in golden ages. So they can sort of have some really cool, weird combinations of policies that no other player gets access to.
All right, and let's take a minute and talk about Gall's special district here, the Oppidum. So this is a unique industrial zone that they get, right?
Yeah, it comes earlier, and Carl's about to build it and show us some of its adjacency. So it gets adjacency, a lot of adjacency from strategic resources and quarries, and that's a +8 right there. That's nuts. And I think it's going to go even higher once he gets a second mine for a minor adjacency bonus.
Pun intended.
Pun very much intended.
I do have a mine here on the iron. The iron's providing a +2. The horses are providing a +2. But there is a mine on the iron. I'll chop this tile out and get a mine there as well. And the Oppidum does get that same adjacency as all of their districts do from that. So this go from a +8 to a +9. The Oppidum also, once it's finished, immediately grants the tech apprenticeship for free. So I did have that for selection here, and I did not choose it because I do get that for free. So you don't want to research that one yourself when you're playing as the Gauls.
Yeah, the reasoning there is that it actually unlocks earlier than the normal industrial zone, but we still wanted to let you build a workshop. Just like other districts, usually when you build it, we want to give you the first building right away. So it's a nice little tech boost that that Gall gets access to.
Very cool. All right, so the Gesite there is holding up pretty well. That Praetorian Guard bonus that you've gotten has actually kept it alive. It's actually doing kind of a number on the Legion and the Chariot that are there too. So that's very helpful for us. Kind of forcing Rome to sort of throw itself at your barbarian horns here.
Right, yeah, just swapping the Gesite in and out, whoever has more health.
Yeah, move one back, promote, move the next one up, and attack. The Gesite and Gaul in general are very defensive. They're great at conquest, obviously. You can't go wrong with that. But they're particularly good on defense. So if you have a unit that fortifies and you get that fortification bonus, particularly if they are on defensible terrain like a hill or forest, and then they get surrounded by units, whether it's your own or enemy units, they just stack all their bonuses together. So you can really add up all of these things and then let the unit attack you and you still heal. And it makes them fantastic at defense. I'd say they're one of the toughest civs on defense in the entire game. And that's in addition to their double defensible districts. So the other thing about the Oppidum is that it gets a range attack. It gets a defense at a range attack, just like this encampment has a banner. It will get one as well. I do not have walls up on my capital right now, so we won't actually get to see that. And I'm not being attacked by anybody, so we're not going to show that off today. But every single city can get those two districts up, so every single city can have the zone of control, the extra range attacks. If you have Magnus in there with the Embouchure promotion, you do get 2 range attacks out of the Oppidum as well, so 6 total for that city. They're just beastly when being attacked. So you sort of want to expand early, get the most out of your unique unit to conquer nearby cities, and then turtle up and make the most out of your production, out of your culture, whatever kind of victory you decide to go for. It's very advantageous to turtle against harder opponents.
Okay, I got a couple of questions that have come in about how the Oppidum works. So one of them is, does completing it grant only apprenticeship or all the text leading up to it?
Only apprenticeship.
Right.
Okay. And then another one is, do the industrial district still benefit from the 3 green districts that give it production? So I guess does it get an adjacency bonus from things like neighborhoods?
I believe it's mostly about the quarries, the strategic resources, and the mines. I don't think they have quite the same adjacency profile.
Yeah. The districts, Gaul's districts, do not get any adjacency bonus for adjacent districts, any minor adjacency bonus for adjacent districts. Things like the entertainment square, entertainment complex, and theater square, those will still be there. But you do not get anything for an adjacent aqueduct, an adjacent dam, those kinds of bonuses. That is not on the Oppidum, and then they do not get the minor adjacency for plus one for every two.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay, now let's go ahead, and I think you wanted to build Statue of Zeus there.
Yes, we are going to build
we're
Statue of
build
Zeus.
But we're going to blow past its description, and we'll talk about what it does once we complete it. So
It's cool. Don't worry about it.
yeah, it's really cool. Yep.
You'll see.
Yeah, you'll see. And looks like our war against Rome is going pretty well as well too. Are you going to go ahead and you're going to keep working on kind of more military policies at this point?
We're going to keep trying.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that Lisbon is that Rome is suzerain of Lisbon, but you're actually holding up pretty well. It's kind of like interesting terrain because on the one hand you have lots of hills to your advantage, but on the other hand you have this mountain range sort of splitting your forces.
Yeah, you got 2 doors you got to fight your way through in order to get there. So somebody asked, what inspired Gaul's different style of district play? Is it based on a gameplay? Is it based on some interpretation of history? Like, why did you decide to go with Gaul's district placement game being so different than some of the other civs that have been in the game to this point?
Yeah, that's a good question. When we in the New Frontier Pass, we've had a lot of time to really dig in and think about each individual civilization that we're releasing, what kind of history we want to represent, what kind of mechanics we want to try. So there are a couple things that went into Gaul. One is, I think it'd be easy to typecast Gaul as sort of like, the barbarian horde, and you're like, oh, they're really aggressive and they're uncivilized and stuff. And I think, we kind of wanted to look for, a more nuanced approach. So by intentionally making them a culture civ, we sort of were going against the grain of history because, most historical accounts of like Ambiorix and the Gauls come from the very one-sided accounts of Julius Caesar. Saying,
are you saying he's not an objective source of history?
I don't know if you'd consider that objective. Yeah. So we kind of we have a really talented historian and writer on our staff. So we really wanted to dig in and think about okay, well, who were the Gauls really? Like, we don't want them to just be like the barbarian opponents of Rome. We couldn't resist having some fun gameplay around that, and that's the king of the Abrones with the adjacency bonus in the different tactics of the Gaetate. But by having them kind of focus on, we kind of looked at their traditional land holdings, in Europe, and there's a lot of hills, a lot of forest, a lot of spreading out. And a lot of sort of early, industrial activity. And so we wanted to emphasize that. And that kind of led us naturally into the direction of focusing on mines. And then with mines and what if districts couldn't be adjacent to the city center? What if you had to kind of spread out? But then I was like, well, how do you get stuff? And that's when we started experimenting with the culture bomb idea. So it's just sort of that's kind of the direction that we went on, and we're really happy where it ended up.
Cool.
And then the Oppidum, that's fun because back in the base game of Civilization 6, we made a call to be very judicious about how many defensible districts to add. I think we had originally thought maybe the harbor gets a range strike and stuff like that, but we decided against it just because it's so strong if it was in everybody's hands. But as a special thing that only Gaul gets with the Oppidum, it's really fun and it makes them special on defense.
Well, that's really cool. All right, so looks like you're turning aside from Lisbon, although it looks like they've just upgraded to crossbowmen, Carl, so it might be...
Oh, yeah, they did just get some crossbowmen. I didn't intend to take Lisbon, though. I'm not too pleased with that city placement. I don't think it's going to help us very much, so we can use them as a trading partner, particularly because Kumasai is in the game, so that will improve our...
even routes, more culture,
right? Improve our trade routes to city-states. So I don't really want to kill them. So we're just gonna skirt on past, hopefully, and run away from that crossbowman. But if it comes out, we'll take a look at what the Gaetate looks like when fighting crossbowmen. I know that there have been a couple of questions about how it holds up.
Well, it looks like it's doing pretty well so far, and you're tying up Rome's legions pretty good. There's that one that's surrounded on 3 sides by Gaetate, which is going to be good if you can force him to trade, one of his valuable legions for your Gaetate that you've been holding on since the beginning of the game. That seems like that's a fair trade.
Yeah, I would definitely take it. The legion costs resources, the Gaetate does not. So I will take that trade for sure. But I do have that policy on that makes my units heal faster, so I'm hoping that between the hills and the forest defense, you can see that plus 15 fly over there. I'm hoping that they'll recover enough. We do have a crossbowman here, but I want to heal this guy up first.
Yeah, just your archers got hammered by the crossbowmen in Lisbon. That's all right. We're going to try to take a red team here, which will be much better under new ownership, I'm sure.
Alternate history, my favorite part of a Civ game.
I have the siege in place now.
Row. Yeah. Nice, yeah, you got this around.
So we were talking a little bit. I know I asked you earlier how they compared to some of the other kind of early and classical, military civs. And Anton, I think I'd asked you, I was like, okay, well, you get this civ that's got this really kind of dense swarming factor. How does that compare to something like, Macedon? And you had an interesting observation.
Sure, yeah. So kind of like I mentioned earlier, with our philosophy with Gaul was we didn't want them to be a purely militaristic civ. They can do military quite well, especially early on with the Gaesite push, as you see here, because it sort of like helps neutralize tech advantages, especially useful on higher difficulties. But they're not kind of like a war powerhouse. They're really meant more for defense. And they have a lot of culture and production as well. So actually, domination isn't kind of like their primary victory path, I would argue. Whereas, so they're kind of well-rounded in that way. Whereas a civilization like Macedon, they're kind of like a sharpened spear. They are very much meant for domination, and they have bonuses, not just their unique unit, but the leader and civ bonuses that will help them achieve that throughout the game. So they're a little bit more specialized, I would say, and Gaul is a little bit more well-rounded. So it just depends what you're looking for. If you want to go conquer half the world like Alexander himself, then play as Macedon. But if you want to kind of like make an early push instead of a hilly forest empire, then Gaul might be more for you.
So, Carl, you're going to try hammering on these crossbowmen here? That seems risky.
Yeah, if I move through this area, they're just going to move in behind, and I'll be attacked from two directions at once. So I'm going to try to whittle them down as much as I can. This unit is still alive. You can see how much damage I'm doing against the crossbowmen. I think it was 46 to 35 there. I'm still on the defensible terrain. So we're going to try to make the most of the situation that we have.
And no walls yet, which is fortunate.
No walls yet, so let's, keep hoping.
At some point, I'll need to find time to make a battering ram in case they do.
That would be useful if you could have that.
Oh, and you got the
pillage
nice.
Heal up too. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Gonna heal a little longer there.
Mm-hmm. Well, that'll tie that legion up if nothing else. So, good placement for the commercial hub. That's good.
Get the miner bonus from the mines there.
Mm-hmm. You're entirely too amused by that.
I gotta give credit. Carl actually came up with the pun they were practicing, and I just couldn't resist making it. But it was Carl's idea.
Oh,
so.
We made that pun plenty in testing.
Yeah.
So if you're just joining us, we are playing as Gaul, and we're playing on the new map script that's going to come with this next DLC pack, and this is the Highlands Map script. It's got more mountains, it's got more hills. If you're playing with a civilization that does particularly well with that, so Ethiopia or
the Inca
would do really well.
Yeah,
Gaul's doing well with this. And then if you're wondering why Carl's units are zipping around so much, he has the Matterhorn in his territory and was able to get a promotion as a result of being near that natural wonder, which has worked out well to his advantage. So.
We've got the Dramatic Ages mode on, which is another new part of DLC 3. Optional game modes, you can turn it on or off depending on your preference, but what it does is every new age after the first is either golden or dark. Golden is you get access to golden policies instead of the vacations. Dark is you get access to dark policies. They're a bit reworked compared to normal, and some dramatic things happen, which we'll see later on in the stream today.
Yeah. So another question, if Gaul captures an enemy city and there's a district adjacent to the city center, will it disappear?
No, it will not. That district will stay there, but it doesn't gain the adjacency that the Civ would have had previously.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's unlike if you capture a city that has a unique district, then yeah, you won't be able to keep that. But if somebody else placed it in what was for them a valid spot, then yeah, it's not going to raise it out from underneath you. But yeah,
Gotcha.
it's not going to be as optimal as one that you had placed on your own, based next to your mines and stuff like that.
All right, so you're continuing to grind up Arretium here. How this is going to be kind of a near-run thing, trying to take the city with just the units you have in place. Have you thought about getting reinforcements and bringing them up? I notice that your domestic economy is largely built towards building up Gaul at this point.
You did. I don't know if you were the one that make that trade route to Lisbon. It must have been because it's coming to your empire. So that was a little bit of forethought there, and the Matterhorn certainly helps you.
The one between Lisbon and Arretium here is probably Rome's. Maybe Lisbon's itself. I do see, yeah, right here they have one going to Arretium. But I lost another unit. No, we don't want peace. We're not going to make peace. But you're right, I do need to get some more units soon. I just haven't had time with trying to build Statue of Zeus here.
Well, at least we got a nice... what does it give us? Culture or something like that?
Something
and
like
it's
that.
It's the last wonder of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. So they're now all in Civilization 6, which is very exciting.
Complete set.
Well, let's see what this thing does for us.
Whoa!
Look at all those units.
I did not expect this at all.
So we got 3 spearmen, 3 archers, and a battering ram. Go ahead and pull up the description of the Statue of Zeus here. 3 archers, 3 spearmen, a battering ram, and plus 50% production towards anti-cavalry units for the rest of the game, as well as plus 3 gold.
And that's going to actually be a significant, or that's going to be a discount over building those 6 or 7 units independently, and then that's going to apply to all of your anti-cavalry unit construction afterwards as well too. So if you are, looking to build a very defensive-focused military, that would be a good one to have.
Yeah, and a super nice combo that it has with Gaul is part of Gaul's ability as well is that each time they get a non-civilian unit, like a military unit, each time they train, they get part of that unit's cost as culture immediately. So that pile of units that we just got from Statue of Zeus, like we've completed recorded history now. So that's sort of like a nice synergy there as well.
Cool. So we do have one question coming in. If you capture a city with an industrial zone, does it turn into an oppidum and get that ranged shot?
It does, yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. So in that way, it follows. Yeah. The general rule is that whenever you capture another player's city, you sort of like give up any of their unique stuff and you replace any of their stuff with your unique stuff. So that's typically how it works. Yeah, lots of great questions from the chat and edge cases. Yeah, good stuff.
People are interested. All right, so we're going to load into our next save. So I just want to remind everybody that this is going to be released on Thursday of this week. Let's see, that's
tomorrow.
That's tomorrow, September 24th. And that's going to be at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and 5 p.m. British Standard Time. Yes, I always forget we're sort of how that plays around, but yes.
Greenwich European area.
Yes.
As we load in here, let's take a quick moment to talk about the Biosphere Wonder, which is the other wonder that we're releasing in this DLC.
For sure.
The Biosphere, as mentioned in our video, will provide appeal. I was thinking adjacency because we were just talking about all of that with mines, but it's appeal to rainforests and marshes. Normally they have negative. This removes that negative and basically makes it 0. We do want to mention that it is supposed to work in all cities in your empire. Currently, it is bugged and will only apply to the city that it is built in. However, that's actually not the primary thing that the Biosphere does. The Biosphere makes it so that all of your green power improvements, so solar panels and offshore farms and wind farms, make additional power, and it makes that power provide tourism. And that does apply to your entire empire. So it's a massive boost of tourism if you're building a lot of those tile improvements. And if you're using Reyna with her ability, her promotion that increases power, it adds even more. It's a percentage multiplier, so it can be a really big injection of tourism.
Alrighty.
Go
Well,
green and save the planet with suitcases.
I know. It'll be fantastic. All right, so let's take a minute and let us talk about Byzantium, led by Basil II. So, Anton, tell us about this civ.
Yeah, so my favorite sort of high-level way to describe Byzantium and Basel is fighting makes his religion better, and religion makes his fighting better. So each holy city that he has gives a permanent that he has converted to his founded religion. Will give more combat strength and religious strength to all of his units. And whenever he is successful in combat, it'll sort of cause a bomb of religious pressure to nearby cities for his founded religion. And it's a big bomb. It's bigger than like missionaries and apostles. And then his cavalry units, one of which is a leader unique one called the Tagma, get full damage against walls if the city is the same religion as the one that Byzantium has founded. And they got the Dromon, they got the Hippodrome, which we'll see in action here in Karl's game.
Okay, well, let's jump into this. So, Karl, we were playing on Emperor difficulty previously. You've actually cranked up the difficulty on this one.
Yes, we are on deity, so let me show that off here.
Oh,
we
snap.
are on deity because right now we are headed towards a dark age. It is the end of medieval, headed towards Renaissance, and so we wanted to show off what could really happen when you hit a dark age in dramatic ages mode on a higher difficulty like this. This has been a little bit of a challenging game for me. The kit that Byzantium has is very, very strong, but it's also very difficult, and it's particularly difficult on harder difficulties. It is intentional, of course, that they have so much synergy between their different abilities, but it is also intentional that several of their things don't really mesh well together. So, for example, going for going for religion and going for military are sort of opposite sides. Going for culture and going for the ship, the Dromon ship, are opposite sides. So you do have to really make some difficult decisions about how you're going to approach their abilities, and some of that will come from the map that you're on, what difficulty you're playing, and then of course what unfolds during your individual game. So I have my capital here. Of course, your first thing is going to be a holy site. Byzantine does get +1 great profit point from their base holy site district. That's the same that everybody else gets from the holy site and a shrine, so they don't have to build their shrine to have that. But if somebody else builds a shrine, they are going to be making the same amount. So it is still a race for them. You'll need to build a shrine. You'll need to do a project, profit project, in order to try to rush your religion if possible, because their abilities will not work unless they have a religion of their own, and that's very important. So if you're on deity, don't leave it to chance just because you get that bonus profit point.
Yeah, especially on the higher difficulty levels, it can be, the AI can be very aggressive and successful with founding religion. So definitely go for that early religion, especially higher difficulty levels.
Sorry.
I was going to say I did pick work ethic here as a belief for myself, and in this patch, work ethic will be fixed. I've been told that that fix is in tomorrow's patch, so it should be working properly again after this.
Actually, if you can back up near Constantinople for a second, we can take a look at the Hippodrome as well too. So you can see the Hippodrome,
I do have that. This is their unique district, the Hippodrome. This is the actual racetrack here that you can see. It's a really pretty district. This is, again, not something that really meshes that well with the rest of their kit, and that is intentional in terms of building, at least. Obviously, you get free heavy cavalry units, which does go very well for them.
And it could be the Tagma, depending on the timing. Yeah.
Exactly, and it will be here in a minute. We've got an arena finishing in 2 turns here, and that will give us a Tagma unit. But sort of, when do you build it? In my capital, I only have... Excuse me, misclick. I only have space for 3 districts here, and like I said, I had to do the holy site. That's a must. You still need a campus because they're all about war, and war comes down to science. The Tagma you get from culture, but everything else is science-based, so I still need to build a campus. I have a space ready to go for a theater square, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. And then, do you build an encampment or do you not build an encampment? You could go either way on that one. I've gone ahead and built one, but I was unfortunate enough to not get a great general. I was really hoping to get one so that we could get that extra +5 combat strength. But we have Rome in the game. We have Gorgo in the game, Greece. We have Gaul in the game. So I think other people have just been snatching them up, and we missed that opportunity. But the Hippodrome I've built in one of my secondary cities, because I just don't have space for it in the capital. So I'm going to build one here. It'll centralize it, give that nice boost to the other cities here once I build regional buildings. And we're going to come down here and start fighting some more.
Look at all those tagmas. Holy
Look at
cow.
all those tagma.
Yeah, I just unlocked that last turn, so I was able to upgrade them all from heavy chariots. I had pre-built them as heavy chariots, and I was able to upgrade them all into tagmas. It did bankrupt me to do that because, once again, if you pull up the civics tree here, Divine Right, where the tagma is on the bottom of the civics tree. Mercenaries, where professional army is on the top of the civics tree. So that is, again, an intentional competing thing to slow down how powerful their kit actually is. And in fact, because of that, Renaissance is actually their real powerhouse era. You get Reformed Church to unlock theocracy, so you get that faith purchase discount, and then the policy Wars of Religion goes very well for them, so that if you are fighting somebody else that has their own faith, you are able to get an additional +4 combat strength.
Did you pick up the Crusade belief?
I did pick up Crusade. So let's take a look at our religious beliefs here. Like I said, we've got work ethic, and then Crusade goes very, very well for Byzantium. +10 combat strength when within the borders of foreign cities that follow this religion. So
that's where you want to be fighting as Byzantium.
Exactly. Yeah. If you have not converted somebody yet and you have that Wars of Religion policy, you get +4. If you have converted them with Crusade, you get +10. So it only goes up.
And as you fight, as we'll see here, like if you haven't converted them yet, you will, because there's giant bombs of religious pressure whenever they're successful in combat. And it looks like you've actually already done the work here of converting them to your religion. So Crusade is in effect, and they're following your religion, but you're still coming at their gates to conquer.
Right, exactly.
Politically, they're in different.
I did do some initial missionary spreading, and then I came down with these tagmas to attack Corinth. I was able to kill a few units there, which spread the religion even further. So I did convert all of them already just from that. And then I have these missionaries up here, which are going to come over and hopefully convert the Georgian Holy City, which will give us another +3.
So how many holy cities do you have right now?
I have 2. I was going to say the Knossos is the Greek holy city. So I have a +6. And let's show that off here. So I get +6 from Taxis because I have my own holy city, which immediately gives a +3. And then I have Greece's holy city for another one. I've got the Crusade belief for +10. But I currently am not getting anything from the Tagma. The Tagma provides a +4 combat bonus when adjacent to another Tagma. So if I move this guy...
Let's give him a friend.
...down here, it should now list that. There we go. +4 combat strength within one tile of a Tagma. This applies to military units and religious units. So it's kind of like a mini Great General there. They do not apply it to themselves on their own tile, but they will apply it to each other if they are adjacent.
And it doesn't stack, right? So
and it does not stack, that's correct.
Okay. So you can, once you get your first tagma in place, you're good.
Right.
You don't need to try to crowd them all in.
So let's go ahead and show off how this religious spread works. Like Anton was saying, it is 250, equal to the same amount that you would get if you were killing a religious unit or condemning heretic on a religious unit. That is more than a missionary, more than an apostle. It hits everything in the same range as a normal killing of a religious unit. It would hit down here to Sparta, but we did not see the flyover text there because it is in Fog of War.
Okay. And we're going to keep pressing on that. I got a couple of questions that have kind of come in from chat.
Sure.
Does Venice replace Antioch as a city-state, and does it have the same bonus as before?
It does, yes. Okay. Yeah, so Antioch, I forget if it's in Gaul or if it's in Byzantium. Actually, my history is a little rusty because we did these both at the same time. But yes, so we put in Venice as a replacement for that city-state, but the effect is the same. It's just sort of like a cosmetic name change. And of course, Venice has its own icon now as well.
And also, Andrew Johnson, the writer of Civ, is in chat and complaining that we are pronouncing Hippodrome incorrectly. We're pronouncing it like the theater in Baltimore instead of the
well, we
Greek.
do live.
It's true.
It's
Very,
biasing,
very
yeah.
much credit to him for the pronunciations of these things for the videos.
And to Sarah for actually
and to Sarah
pronouncing them
for getting
correctly.
it. I know that we received comments from a Byzantine scholar saying that it was spot on, so that was really great to hear. It does sound a little bit strange to people who are used to pronouncing it Byzantium and Byzantine, but that is the English pronunciation and not the accurate one. I am not going to attempt it.
I will.
Speaking
thank
of
everybody.
weird Greek names, speaking of weird Greek and Byzantium, well, I'm totally not saying it correctly, but the name for Basil's unique ability,
Prophenietos.
Oh man,
I do have
came
that
prepared. Yes.
That was close. That was
Yeah.
close. But it basically means born in the purple, and I was actually excited because I knew what that meant when you guys were naming the abilities. I was like, oh gosh, I know what that means. So the Empress would give birth in a purple chamber, and so to have been born into the purple meant that you were, only the most royal of Byzantine people. You were in the succession lineage, or you were, very, very highly born in the imperial family, and so consequently, to have been born into the purple made you a very desirable person in the dynastic policies of the Middle Ages and so forth. So I was very excited with that.
And so that whole history factored into our color choice for Byzantium, obviously, as you see on the unit flags and the city here. It also factors into Basil's costume, which has some nice purple robes going on. So yeah, we do our best to remain true and accurate to history.
And Anton, could you remind us of what that ability does?
Yes. So the Born in the Purple ability, which has another name that I won't try to pronounce, what it does is it lets heavy and light cavalry units, like the Tagma, deal full damage to walls if the city's following the same religion, just like this.
Oh my gosh.
Kablamo. Oh, I said
so
Kablamo
great.
a little early, but there it is. Yeah, so, who needs a battering ram? Who needs a catapult? Just bring your heavy cavalry, convert the religion, and, they just charge right through with zealous faith.
My horse is going to kick these walls down by itself.
Yeah,
and then
the other part of the Born in the Purple ability is they get the Tagma unit, because as you all know, civs normally only get one unique unit, but Byzantium has the Tagma and the Droman, which is a ship I think we'll see shortly here.
We will, yes.
Yes.
And we have added +1, well, moved, I should say. It was someplace else before. Pasture improvements received +1 food. We moved onto stirrups to fill what would otherwise be an empty tech for them, because the Tagma is a knight replacement. Obviously, the knight is not on stirrups. This is for everybody, not just for Byzantium. That it was moved up, I think, just a little bit. +1 food from pastures.
Oh, no!
No!
We're not playing Apocalypse mode, are we?
No, we are not. There we go. I got +4 for having the Dromon and +2 for having a naval vessel. I'm trying to squeeze out of this Dark Age. We're not quite going to make it. It is worth noting down here on this meter, there is a visual problem with the meter when you're playing in Dramatic Ages mode only. When you start a new era, the meter will appear partly full, about 2/3 full or so. The meter is accurate from then on, so this gap is the remaining points that I need, and those points are accurate as well, but there is a visual problem with that.
We'll get it fixed. In the meantime, look at the point value.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do some attacking with this Dromon here. It did not give me enough to pull me out of the Dark Age, but hopefully we can do a couple more things to try to do that.
Yep. And we're going to send those missionaries to try to off to Tbilisi to try to convert there.
So we finished the arena, which gave us a free Tagma unit. This unit did not cost iron, and if I were to upgrade it to a tank, it will not cost oil. It is resource maintenance free. Now, it is important to note that it's not maintenance free. It still costs gold per turn.
Gold, right.
Just not resources per turn.
Yep. That's crazy how much damage they do. That's nuts.
And that is religion bombing these cities down here as well, but again, because they're in fog of war, we are not seeing that text.
Not that it's made a lot of difference. I mean, you're
just cementing the lead.
Yeah, I
for
was
your
going to
religion,
say.
pretty much. Yeah, I think you've got it pretty locked down here.
So we're going to try to take Knossos entirely. Maybe we'll be able to squeeze that out before the end of the era.
Hopefully.
Maybe not.
Close, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be, yeah.
One of the other things about Dramatic Ages mode, so when you're playing a normal game, each city past your capital will increase the threshold that you need of era score that you need by 1. On Dramatic Mages mode, it's actually 3. So bigger empires will fall harder. So maintaining a large empire means you're more at risk to have to get a lot of era score to sort of maintain it. But like I said, like I said before, each tech and civic that you complete gives you an era score. Each promotion past the first level gives you an era score. So whether you're turtling and teching or culturing up, or whether you're on the rampage, kind of like Carl is here, you do have kind of some reliable sources of era score that you can keep grinding away on.
Somebody has suggested we convert the volcano to our religion and kick it down using the tagmas, which I like the cut of your jib, but unfortunately,
just kick the mountain.
Nature doesn't respect the kind of arguments, the theological arguments the tagma brings.
Gaul has conquered Mexico City up here, and they have a knight on my border, so I'm going to start building walls in Thessalonica and not entirely sure.
Nicomedia, yeah.
Nicomedia there. So we're going to start on some walls.
And get your harbor up going. I don't know. It's going to be a tight thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to pull it out. We have 3 turns left.
So it looks like Greece kind of went on a rampage as well too, because they've taken La Venta, they've taken Tirvana, which is a Gallic civ. Oh,
I think it was a Gallic city. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Here we go.
Clearly, what Knossos needed at that point was a drought on top of everything else.
Perfect timing for that.
Things aren't bad enough in that city. Wow. It really is, Carl. It really is fun to watch you stomp people.
Thank you.
You gave me this save to play, and I wasn't nearly as effective at conquering things as you have been. So I've been enjoying watching you take Knossos.
Woohoo.
Empire grows.
Gonna let that unit heal a little bit.
Yep.
Oh, hello, Sparta. You remember?
Yeah, I was going to say
it
might be a little tough to take them. I mean, you don't have much time left before the era change, and you're going to be attacking across the river.
If I pull it off, it'll be more era score.
Yep.
That's true. Oh, Argos is here.
In pretty rough. Argus is in pretty rough shape at this point.
Maybe next turn.
I'm gonna leave that and not attack it with this super wounded unit.
I was gonna say that's
fine.
That's the kind of thing I would do. Alrighty, 2 more turns. All right, let's go exploring a little bit with our Dromon, which is pretty cool. Maybe we'll be able to find some enemy ships and set them on fire. Greek fire. Greek fire at them.
That is what they do. Yes.
So how come you got denounced by the other Rome?
Internal problems.
Yeah, this is because I've inflicted grievances on others. I converted Greece's holy city, which is a large amount of grievances, and then I declared a surprise war against them, and now I'm taking their cities. So lots of grievances, and that's making other people not too happy. But once I'm done with Greece, I'll move on to Rome, and we're going to save Gaul for much later because they are very defensible, and I don't feel like messing with that.
Yep.
Long
term, are you thinking like religious victory, or?
That's what I was thinking.
So the thing with Byzantium that's really interesting is if you want to win a domination victory with them, you first have to turn religious victory off, because by way of just attacking, you will inevitably convert their cities, and so you will win a religious victory before you win a domination victory with them. So yeah,
Nice.
I think we're probably doing religious victory here. So this is the Dromon, and we are going to attack this barbarian ship here. You can see that this is a quadrireme replacement, but it has a range of 2, and it has a +10 combat bonus, and it gets the Taxis ability, so +6 here. If I were to have more holy cities, that would go up. And of course, Taxis then does mean that it scales on map size. So the more the more players on the map, the more religions that there can be, and also the more holy cities you can convert. But the amount of faith you get doesn't really go up until you start getting more cities yourself. So it's worth noting that that's sort of intentional. We understand that it's very difficult to convert holy cities on a map that big. So yes, it scales, but you have to put in a lot of work to get it.
Right.
Yep. All right, sink these barbarians. Whoa!
Great fire!
So the Dromon was a galley vessel that had a projector on the front of it that threw Greek fire.
Which you can see right here.
Yeah, so we're still not entirely. So there's been various speculations as to what Greek fire actually was. There's this whole cool kind of historical debate about it. What's clear is that it was some sort of flame weapon, whether it was quicklime and oil or naphtha or whatever. It's very, very interesting. Look up the history of that. It's one of those things where truth is almost as amazing as fantasy can be. So.
For the purposes of designing the Dromon and coming up with cool visual effects, it was like fire.
Yeah, it was kind of an easy bucket.
Very cool to have like a flamethrower on the boat.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a lot of really interesting history behind Greek fire, and there's all these scary accounts you can read quotes of in our Civilopedia entry for it about how it felt on the battlefield.
Yep. All right. Are we going to be able to take Argos this turn? Probably not. Maybe?
Yeah, if you bring that other one. Oh, he only has one movement.
Yeah, so I'm going to promote him.
Too bad. Pillage it. Yep. It's amazing how much damage you're doing in the walls with cavalry units. It's hilarious to watch. So, like you said, this is a civilization that uses religion and conquest. You need to kind of keep both rolling at the same time, or you're going to start falling behind. If you're just tuning in, Carl is playing on deity difficulty, which I respect him the more for because I can't possibly do that. Oh, you traded horses to Caesar. I forget you are a much more generous
I
trader
can use
than I
the
am.
gold, and he's not going to be able to stop me with just 1 unit's worth of horses.
Well, maybe he wants to use them for recreational purposes. Maybe they're not
then all the
military
more
horses.
reason to sell them to him.
Yeah. Oh, so we got to dip into the Renaissance era. We got our first World Congress.
Do you want less grievances, Carl? You probably want less grievances.
Yeah, I kind of want less grievances.
Yeah.
Enter out.
4 great generals. I don't know how you were going to get them between.
Yeah, I don't know
Rome
that I'll
and
be able
Gaul
to, but
and
hey, it's worth a shot.
Sparta. That's amazing.
And now we are in a dark age. So when you enter a dark age in dramatic ages mode, let's leave this up for a second when we talk. You immediately lose cities according to what difficulty you are playing on. So if you're on a higher difficulty, you lose more cities. If you're on a lower difficulty, you lose fewer. And the inverse is true for the AI. On higher difficulties, they lose fewer cities, and on lower difficulties, they lose more cities. So
and Prince is the sort of equal point there.
Exactly.
Yes.
If you're looking to up the difficulty of your game, Deity Dramatic Ages is the way to do it.
Yeah.
You do also get a Dark Age policies, just like you do in normal, and those have also had a couple of tweaks, so we'll take a look at those here in just a second. But let's see how many cities I lost total. Looks like Greece lost 1.
Yeah, you
let's
lost
see.
4
Did they go into...
Rostovs.
Rome and Greece both went into a Dark Age. Everybody else is in a Golden. So it looks like Greece lost 1, and that's it.
You lost
I
at
lost
least
2
2
here. 3.
Oh my God.
4. And then if I come down here, let's see. Looks like Rome lost 1. There might be some more down here, but I'm guessing that they only lost 1. Now, it is a percentage based of how many cities you have. So if you have a lot of cities, it could be more than 4. Or if the AI has a lot of cities, it could be more than 1. But that will change depending on how many cities they have.
Yeah, the bigger you are, the harder you fall. But it's not insurmountable, especially in Carl's case here. He has, a standing army kind of at the front. The cities that are most at risk to flip are the ones that have the sort of least friendly loyalty pressure coming in. So especially since these are on the border, they're close to Sparta. They were kind of like already at risk, and I think Knossos was even about to flip anyway. So it just sort of sped up that process in an instant. But Carl can use force to retake the cities. Conversely, if Greece was in a golden age, which they're not, they might have enough loyalty pressure to, kind of take the free cities for themselves naturally and peacefully. Especially since one of the other changes we've made for Dramatic Ages mode is that if you enter a golden age with more era score than you need for that golden age, it's converted into extra loyalty pressure. So you no longer have to sort of like carefully time your historic moments if you don't want to. It can be still useful in some cases, but yeah, like if you enter a golden age, you can have as much as I don't think there's a cap actually, but after 50% more loyalty pressure than normal, it does start to sort of give diminishing returns. But it can be quite nasty on the other end of it, which is quite fun. And yeah, for those. This is definitely not a mode for everyone, and that's why it's a mode. It's something we were very excited to try out because it's sort of an idea that we've been kicking around ever since Rise and Fall started. In fact, there was an early prototype of Rise and Fall where if players had 2 Dark Ages back to back, they would lose cities in this way, but they would become barbarian camps, and it wasn't really fun. It was only later, after we had experimented with the mechanics a lot, had this idea of free cities, really experimented through probably a dozen different mathematical models for how pressure worked for loyalty, that we felt we wanted to revisit this as a fun sort of dramatic mode.
Okay.
And on lower difficulties, it won't be quite as punishing for the human player.
We've got a ton of questions from people about this. So how does it determine which cities you lose?
So, like I was saying, it looks at your empire and these cities with the least friendly pressure. So, like you see Constantinople, the capital, like there's a bunch of cities that Carl has around it, giving those friendly purple waves inwards. And Constantinople itself, as a capital city, has a bunch of pressure on its own. So it's the cities that have the least of your own pressure that are the sort of like first ones to go. So usually what this means is that it's the cities at the outskirts of your empire. So Knossos and Corinth are perfect examples in this case, because they sort of like, they don't have that sort of reinforcing loyalty structure that the core of your empire does. So the idea here is that, your empire was sort of like collapsed from the outward, from the periphery in, where your capital is always safe. You'll always lose at least one city, but your capital will never be lost. So if you're down to just your capital's fine. The other cool thing about Dramatic Ages and I'll let Carl go into some of the Dark Age policies before I start rambling again.
I'm just showing the abilities of each of these. So like I said, some of these got tweaked, like this one, which again I'm not going to try to pronounce. This one I think is new, plus 50% production in your capital, but all governors are neutralized and cannot be reestablished. It's great if you're trying to build, but if you're trying to hold on to loyalty pressured cities that are getting ready to flip, that is not good at all.
Yeah, that's
so I'm not gonna take this one since I'm conquering cities. We are gonna do elite forces instead.
You lost your Praetorian Guard too. That's unfortunate.
I lost Praetorian Guard. I had that on, which was giving plus 10 healing, so that definitely hurts. So yes, it's not just the fact that you're losing cities. It's you're losing your Golden Age policies and having to slot them with normal ones or potentially Dark Age ones, which can be really cool in some circumstances, but can also have a lot of penalties of their own. Well, they always have penalties, but those penalties are better or worse depending on the situation. So if I didn't have anybody around me, then losing all my governors, not necessarily so bad as far as loyalty is concerned, but you do lose their bonuses too, and so depending on how far into the game you are, what bonuses you're getting, it could be very punishing, and you might not want to take that.
So Carl was able to retake Knossos because he had an army that was like right there basically.
Yeah.
But if you didn't, and if you left these free cities to sort of exist, they can actually form almost by virtue of the system, it can almost form like this little knot of non-civilization cityness.
Absolutely. You can see on the mini map that those cities are showing up as black and red. And eventually, as the game goes on, since free cities apply their own loyalty pressure in this mode, and how much loyalty pressure they apply increases with difficulty as well. They'll flip more and more on their own, and it becomes very difficult to deal with in some respects. So you can have large sections of the map that are just free cities that are this black and red.
Just a coalition of people that don't want to be part of a civ.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And some civs are very good at dealing with that, and some civs are very good at manipulating that. So if you have the Mapuche or Eleanor in the game, they
Eleanor's
are a ton of fun, right, to play around with. And when she flips other people, or other people flip on their own because they're entering a dark age, she does acquire those cities instantly. And
so they don't even go through the free city phase.
They don't go through the free city phase.
They
go to her as long as she's got the highest loyalty there. Playing with Secret Society mode and using the cultists is a ton of fun here. So there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with this mode, but it is certainly challenging.
And just as a reminder that this Dramatic Ages mode is a game mode, so it is usable with the other game modes as well too, like Secret Societies, the Mega Disasters, the Apocalypse
Tech
mode,
and Civic Shovel, yeah.
Yep. So you can you can play around with this. You can add this with something else. Like, yeah, this is very definitely. I'm going to try it with Eleanor, but I'm going to try it on a lower difficulty because I'm a coward and would like to do that. Also, people want to know, Carl, how do you like to play against Byzantium?
If you are playing against Byzantium, I recommend not founding a religion. I actually had this discussion with somebody just recently, and they were saying, should you found a religion to defend yourself? And I said no, because they're going to flip your religion regardless. They're going to attack you. They're going to kill your units. At some point, you're going to lose units, which flips your city. So if you found a religion, you are making a holy city that much closer to them for them to then benefit from on the taxis ability. So I think it is better to not found a religion and just do your best to turtle.
Just kind of, either turtle or maybe try to take them out before they get too many holy cities of their own.
Best option for playing against Byzantium is Gaul, because they're the best defensive civ in the game.
There you go.
There you go. And what tech or civic does the Biosphere come with? That's a very, very late game.
It is very late game. I don't recall the specific one, but it is very late game.
That looks like that's going to be fun to try. All right. Well, so you have your work cut out for you now in this dark age. You're going to have to slog your way back. Just as a reminder, we are going to release this DLC. The Byzantium and Gaul DLC will be out tomorrow. That is the 24th of September at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. British Standard Time. I want to thank Carl Harrison from Phyrexis QA for generating these awesome saves and playing like a pro today. Carl, as always, it's a pleasure to play with you.
Thank you very much, Pete.
And Anton Strenger, lead designer of the Sid Meier Civilization 6 New Frontier Pass. Anton, thank you for sharing these civs you guys have designed with us today.
Of course, looking forward to getting them in people's hands.
And I want to encourage everybody to follow us on social media at CivGame. At Phyrexis Games, we'll have more information about Civilization 6 and the New Frontier Pass in the weeks and months to come. We've still got tons of great stuff to show you guys. It's been a fun year so far, and got lots more to share with you. Thanks very much for watching the live stream today. My name is Pete Murray. I've been your host, and we'll see you again soon.